Good morning. Welcome to the new episode of How to Improve and Face the World. How to be a better human being. Well, you are aware that the cognitive neuroscience is making progress every day. The way the human mind works and the human brain works is becoming more and more revealed. And this revelation can be utilized by you to improve your capabilities, to improve your performance, and thus be more successful. Each one of us is worried about how to achieve peak brain performance. And the advances of cognitive neuroscience, as I said earlier, are helpful in making us understand how to utilize ourselves to become more successful by ensuring peak brain performance. It's not a rocket science to understand yourself, provided you know how to do it. So in case you want to achieve a brain that works at optimum capacity, then you just have 5 tweaks to think about. First is that you must control your emotions. Occasional outburst is not bad. As a matter of fact, that's welcome. But negative emotions must be translated into positive emotions. When you want to try to control your negative emotion, emotional anger, frustration, disappointment in the workplace, then the rational, the positive, and the negative emotions come in conflict with each other. And your brain is busy doing the job to combat the negative emotions and cannot perform positively. So, in case you can combat your negative emotions yourself before they come in predominant, your performance would be better. No two systems of the brain can work together. So you have to regain the cognitive control, recognize the labels, and to control anger, frustration, disappointment, as I said earlier, is not to crush them. You are angry, go to the washroom and shout. As the Japanese have in the workplaces a mannequin, and when you are very angry or very disappointed, you go there and start beating that mannequin and your anger goes out, the outburst is over. So don't try to crush and suppress your anger, let it go. And once you have let it go, you can be sure that your positive emotions, your reason, your logic, your cognitive skills will come to the full play. And that would help you, enable you to enhance your brain performance and make it reach the peak levels. It's just, letting go of the things. These emotions of anger, frustration, disappointment are chains around your leg. Cut them off, throw them off. And you cannot cut them off by ignoring them. When the so-called religious leaders say, control your anger, that way you will become neurotic. So you have to choose between becoming neurotic or to become a human being, and a human being who can perform better by letting go. So just forget your emotions, give an outburst, and in 2 minutes after you have let the outburst go, you will feel a sense of peace, a sense of calm. And this is what exactly Milton in his poem Paradise Lost says. peace of mind, all passion spent. So first thing is that your emotions, you cannot crush them, you cannot suppress them. So the negative emotions have to be let go. And once they are let go, then your cognitive skills would enable you to achieve performance. And performance is another thing. Your peak performance is not about entering a stress state. You have to get into an environment. You have to get in a situation where you can really perform at best. And very easygoing situation will make you lethargic and lazy. A very difficult situation will frustrate you. So you have to ensure that the environment that you work in, that the milieu that you work in is conducive to performance. Peak performance is for someone whose emotions are under control, that they can think optimally. So you have to leave that stage. And the best possible situation is to experience flow, where everything goes smoothly. So with a minor stop of the emotion, where you let it go, your outburst, which gives you peace of mind, you will become more creative and everything will come to your mind more easily without any inhibition. You see, normally we may take conscious efforts to change the situation. You have got to take conscious, deliberate efforts to change the environment. And if you find that you cannot change the environment ever, then leave that place. You cannot be in a bog. You cannot be in a marsh all the time. So either you can drain out the swamp, as Trump said, you can come out of the marsh, and you leave the marsh. Why allow yourself to drown forever and forever? So it's a matter of choice. Once you are in a compatible environment, your brain performance would start increasing and become optimum. Then the second thing is, first was the emotion, the second is the environment, and the third is your gender and your age. They do matter. If you have write down a performance profile, you would see that intellectual arousal is required to achieve peak performance. Arousal of your capability as far as your intellect is concerned. Any arousal of your emotions is always a welcome sign, even of anger, even of frustration, because that leads to purification of yourself. When the people say that control them, that's the negative way. Because as I said earlier, if you crush your emotions, you become neurotic. So you have to have a performance profile and avoid the situation of deep panic. There are some people who are sensation seekers, and the sensation seekers always suffer because they are devoid of intellectual performance. You can have intellectual performance and intellectual correlation with the work once you can attune to that, and sensation seekers don't attune to that. Try not to be what they call male chauvinistic pig. Try to be a human being. And when you are a human being, gender does not matter. We normally say that the women perform less. As a matter of fact, they perform much better because they are not burdened by their gender. Male is always saying, it's not manly thing to do. They forget that manly or unmanly has nothing to do with your performance. Your gender is not a hindrance or an attitude that enables you to perform better. The people who are MCPs would always underperform because they would never be able to attune themselves to the situation which they supposedly called unmanly. Secondly, age. Simply because you're grown in age doesn't become more intelligent. So you have got to forget your age when you're relating to your colleagues. They might be 20 years junior to you, or they may be 20 years senior to you. But deal with them as colleagues, not as elders and youngsters. These are very simple things, but they affect you and your performance a lot. And then, as I said earlier, don't run down your testosterone, the male thing. Run on yourself as a human being. And then, what is important? Not threats, but rewards. Here, there has to be a sort of synchronization between the organization where you work and yourself. An organization which always is threatening would never enable you to perform better. But an organization which holds a carrot would help you perform better. In a threat stage, what happens? There is a rush of cortisol to your bloodstream. And this rush of cortisol cuts off the flow of blood to your brain. It's more going to the heart. You feel your head is bursting, but it's not your head which is bursting. As a matter of fact, it's a withdrawal of the blood from that portion. And that cortisol rush makes you unable to perform better. Your cognitive skills are dulled and become insensate. So, it's up to the organization, and you as a part of the organization can ensure that the threats should be minimized, rewards should be maximized. Create an atmosphere of appreciation. Once there is appreciation, that's the best thing you can do. I remember my dad, somebody asked me, we were playing a prank, and somebody asked my dad, don't you ever spank your children? And my dad said, no. You don't spank horses, you spank donkeys. You pet horses. That petting enables you to be a better human being and helps you perform better. And that is what is required. Now you would say that an organization which gives a threats, you can't change the organization. Well, you can change yourself. Perceive those threats as rewards. Rewards, negative rewards, I'll call them. Do not think or take them as threats at yourself. Take them threats at your non-working, non-performance. And that will enable you to get over the barrier. But I fully agree, if the situation continues forever, better change that organization than stay, as I said earlier, in the swamp. Don't stay in the marsh for a long time. Ultimately, you will drown. What you can do is, the fit tweak. Create mentally a safe workplace, psychologically. It may not be a safe place. It may be full of threats. But psychologically, you can make it a safe place. Is in the end, most important thing is psychological safety. If you are psychologically safe, you may be physically, the firemen are very unsafe. But psychologically, they think that they can overpower it. So are the cops. So is the army. So if you are psychologically safe and you and your colleagues know it, and this safety includes the reward cycle, the climate of atmosphere, the climate of being respected and accepted, and there's a high predictability in that case that you will perform better. So neuroscience enables us to ensure that our emotions, our feelings, our working is attuned to high performance. And if we understand, as I was talking about the cortisol rush in the blood, that enables us to understand the situation in which we are often placed, and also enables us how to get out of those situations. Simple. Try to, as I said, not crush your emotions, but let them go. That will lead to catharsis of you. And that purification, that cleaning process will enable you to perform better. Be in a psychologically safer place. Get rid of the hang-ups of your gender and your age. They are meaningless. Get over the state of stress. And you can be sure, if you can do it, your performance will be par excellence. People who perform better are not better than you are. People who perform better adopt these techniques consciously or unconsciously, and that enables them to perform better, to reach the peak performance. Mount Everest are conquered not by millions, but by only hundreds. Same is about the peak performance. If you are able to attune your mind and your brain in this manner, then peak performance is not a dream. It can be an actuality. Try it and you will see you will be successful. Thank you.